Hi, I want to talk to you today about complex sentences. Now, I'm sure that you talked about those some last year, and I'm pretty sure I talked to you some about those in ninth grade, but we want to review right now. A complex sentence has at least one clause that is dependent. Okay, let me review for a second what that means. What is a clause? What is a dependent clause? A clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a predicate. That means some subject is doing, feeling, thinking, or being something, or having something done to it, maybe if it's a passive voice, but there is a subject and a predicate. If it can stand alone as a sentence, then it's called an independent clause. But it might have some word at the beginning of it, or in some way it might be dependent. Okay, so the word at the beginning of it might weaken the clause and make it dependent. There are some dependent clauses, as I'll get into in a little bit, that don't have a weakening word at the beginning because it's just sort of understood that it's there. But I'm not there yet. This sentence, the dog that I want is that one because he seems friendly. The words that I want, that is a dependent clause, and because he seems friendly is also a dependent clause. The independent clause in the sentence is the dog is that one. That would be a boring sentence without the other clauses working in it. A dependent clause acts like an adverb, an adjective, or a noun. In this sentence, that I want tells which dog, so we're acting like an adjective. And because he seems friendly tells why, and so it's acting like an adverb. An adverb clause like this is introduced by a subordinating conjunction, and we have had lists of those before. You can always Google a list of subordinating conjunctions, the most common ones being if and because. And they have the same functions as adverbs. They can say when something happened, a time, like an adverb of time, remember that? We'll go to the mall after you've finished your homework. So when will we go to the mall? After you've finished your homework. Now, the word after can also be a preposition. If it just has a noun with it, like after lunch, then that is a prepositional phrase. But this after has a subject, you, and a predicate, have finished. And so it has both of those, therefore it is a clause. Subordinating conjunction after, subject of the clause you, and have finished, simple predicate of the dependent clause, or in this case, the type of dependent clause being an adverb clause. An adverb clause can also tell the cause of something. We're being punished because we stayed out too late. And it looks like my Y got a little erased there, but it's not staved out too late, it's stayed out too late. Anyway, we have the subordinating conjunction because, subject we, simple predicate stayed, and stayed out, really, phrasal verb. And all of this is telling why we're being punished. An adverb clause could also tell a condition. If you apologize, maybe she'll forgive you. The main idea is maybe she'll forgive you. Okay? That is the independent clause or main clause of the sentence. If you apologize is a condition under which she may forgive you. And the word if is our subordinating conjunction. Adverb clauses can also give a concession. So even though it is late, Mrs. Brown will accept your work. So, okay, even though is your subordinating conjunction, it, subject, is a part of the contraction there, is the simple predicate of the dependent clause. Main thing we want to say is Mrs. Brown will accept your work. Some of you need to remember that. Okay. And that whole thing, even though it's late, is an adverb clause. An adjective clause begins with a relative pronoun, or it can begin with the word where or with the word when. What we need to know is that adjective clause is acting like an adjective. It's describing or modifying a noun or pronoun. The person who makes the highest grade will win an award. This part right here, who makes the highest grade, is a clause that tells which person will win an award. It modifies person. The relative pronoun who also acts as the subject of the adjective clause. Next one. Let me know of a time when we can talk. When we can talk describes or modifies time, which is a noun. So it's an adjective clause that we have here. We know it's a clause because subject we, okay? Predicate can talk. Sometimes the relative pronoun is understood. You got the candy I wanted. And the relative pronoun would be that, but we're not saying it. We're just understanding it, okay? You got the candy is the main idea, and I wanted is the adjective clause that describes the candy. It tells which candy you got, okay? The next one is a noun clause. So clauses that are dependent can act as adverbs, adjectives, and nouns. A noun clause is introduced by one of these words, and here is a list. How, what, where, who, whomever, however, whatever, which, whom, whose, that, when, whichever, whoever, and why, in no particular order. For example, I know how it is done. So in this case, I'm using the word how to introduce my noun clause. The noun clause has a subject, it, and a predicate, is, and how it is done is the direct object of the sentence saying what I know. Whoever stole my bag needs to confess. Okay, whoever is introducing my noun clause. Stole is the predicate. Whoever is also the subject of the clause, just like in this one up here. And whoever stole my bag is the subject of the sentence, and that person needs to confess. Okay? Noun clauses are a little bit different. You can't take them out of the sentence and have the sentence make sense because we need that subject, or we need that direct object. Okay? A noun clause could be replaced by a pronoun. So I know it or she needs to confess. Okay? A compound complex sentence contains at least 2 independent clauses and at least 1 dependent clause. So in this sentence, we have, once you have given him your ticket, that is a dependent clause because you can't just say that. Once you have given him your ticket, what? Okay? So with the word once being the weakening word there, that makes this the dependent clause, and with the comma you can kind of tell that, and the whole process starts. The whole process starts is an independent clause. It can stand alone as a sentence. Eventually you'll be in is an independent clause, and those 2 independent clauses are joined by a coordinating conjunction, and of course they have a comma separating them as well. Once you have given him your ticket, the whole process starts, and eventually you'll be in. And I think that's all I have to say about complex sentences and compound complex a little bit. You'll have, of course, a meeting and an assignment. And I think this is the last assignment. Maybe there's one more. I don't know. I can't think. Before we have the last writing assignment, we're running out of time in this partial, and so let's go ahead and get it done. Have a happy day.